Hello, friends. It's great to have you with us once again. We're up to show number 44, and I'm Stephen J. Murphy. Been off for a few weeks, and sitting right next to me, Princess Viv. How you doing?
Oh, thank you, King Steve. It's so wonderful to have you back.
Yeah, well, it's. I can't believe really how fast it's gone. And I just the other night I was looking at some of our past shows, and I thought, gee, that's show 40 and show 39, and here we are up to show 44. So
I think it's gone really quickly, don't you?
Well, it is, but friends, are you with me in saying as well, look, I think we all say this, is it because we're getting older, the years are just flying by. Now here we are into August, and a reminder how quickly it goes past. We say a very special welcome to Mitchell Coombes tonight.
Oh, thank you. Good evening.
Oh, my
It's great to be back, and it's great to be here. Thank you for having me on the program.
Because it was March this year.
Oh, and you're correct. Time is just melting away.
Yeah.
But I love Christmas. I'm so excited.
It's my favourite. I still am like a kid when it comes to Christmas. I've got to put up the tree, the family, it's the big deal. And I even want wrap presents. When people say, do you want a gift card? I say, no, go and buy me a present. I want to wrap
even
it.
just when you wrap presents at Christmas time, I know we should be talking about Christmas, really. We're scaring people.
Well,
but,
the thing
is to actually wrap presents with intention. So I always teach at Christmas time, when you're wrapping a gift or you're wrapping a present, you wrap with intention, you put love and positive feelings into that, because I believe that the recipient or the receiver receives that energy,
Absolutely.
But Christmas can also be a hard time for a lot of people too, so, but you're right, the year is just melting away, but it's fantastic.
Yes.
Well, talking of special times, special people, another lovely lady sitting next to you, Anya Petrovic. Good evening.
Good evening.
It's lovely to have you join the show tonight as our special guest. So we really look forward to hearing the information you've got. It's profound. You've made some profound discoveries, and we really look forward to hearing about that. But firstly...
Well, actually, he told me before I even had a slightest idea.
Now, that was in December 2008, correct? You had a reading with Mitchell, and Mitchell did tell you about what we're about to talk about tonight.
That's fantastic. And you contacted up the producers of the show and said you wanted to come on and share.
Yeah,
this is exciting. Yes,
because I mean it was so precise. And the thing is, I usually don't go for readings, and I have some, and I happened to be in Mind, Body, Spirit Festival, and I went for some completely different reason to buy a dress. And I was just passing Mitchell's stand, and for a twinkle of a second, I had eye contact with him. And that second, I just knew I needed to have reading with him. I didn't know why.
And that was all the way back in 2008.
Yes.
And here we are.
9 years later. Is that
Nearly
9 years?
decade,
Wait, I got the math right.
Yep.
9 years.
It's nearly a decade later, and you guys are sitting here together talking about the evolution of the embryo that you saw that long ago.
And can I just say, that's such a rewarding thing for me, because I've, been doing this work now for a number of years, and it's just so beautiful when you do hear of people that, I hear from people all the time that say, I had a reading with you many years ago, or you stopped me on the street and you gave me a message from my loved ones, or I've even had people, I've been out eating at restaurants and things, and people come up to me and say, see this baby? You predicted him when I was told I couldn't have children, and I look at the baby in the pram or in the stroller and I think, wow. So it's so lovely to see things come full circle.
and to be sitting here tonight for us to experience it too, it just fortifies what we do for our work on this show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, all this was almost like impossible, and I came to the stand, but of course I was told that he was already booked, and I said, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll just take a card and I'll book, the session next week. And then when I went,
You would have been told there was a waiting list.
and it was like I have to wait for years, and I was, and I decided to write him an email, and I said, I saw your eyes, and I just knew I had to do a reading with you. And I was pleasantly surprised when I had the response just next day saying, oh, isn't that interesting? I sent my friend to you a year ago. When I saw your eyes, I said, you can trust this healer. So he knew about me.
Because many years ago, I had a friend come to me with some brochures of different healers that were offering healings at the time. And my friend said to me, Mitchell, you know, what do you think? Is it safe? Should I go for a healing? And I said, well, you've got to go with what feels right for you. But I saw it was Anya's flyer or something that my friend had. And I said, I really feel very drawn to this lady for you, though. I mean, I didn't know you from Bar of Soap. And we haven't spoken for however many years, 9 years apparently. It's been 9 years because, and I said, and the reason why I feel you need to go to this healer is I'm very drawn to her eyes, and I feel that you'll have a connection, because I really believe that the eyes are a window to the soul. And so my friend went along and had the healing, and that was that. So fast forward, I was at the Mind Body Spirit Festival, is what you're talking about, and Anya had come up to my stall hoping to book an appointment, discovered there was a waiting list, and sent me an email. And I knew straight away who this lady was, because I looked at the name and I thought, this looks like, because you have a picture on the bottom of your email back then, I don't know if you still do, but and I thought to myself, that looks like the lady that I sent my friend to. And so when Anya wrote to me, I was very drawn to you at the Mind Body Spirit and your eyes, I remembered sending my friend to her because I felt a connection to the eyes. So there was a connection. It was just quite profound. And so I'd given you a reading, and I actually never retain what I remember what I say in readings.
But it lasted for an hour and a half. I have everything recorded, and you know, I just took, I wrote down exactly your words.
Oh, okay.
Because, you said, because at that time I was doing reconnective healing and I didn't have any idea, you know, why would I do anything different? You know, and you said, your business is going to be very different from that you're doing now. It is a special project. In June, July next year, there is a strong energy showing you what is that you need to do. Something different. It is a huge potential. I see that you are in the right path. I see that you are making a strong move. I can also see you writing a book. I was like, oh, me writing a book, why would I write a book? No, it is not about that what you do now. It is very different. You will discover a new concept. It will be well received. And, you know, it sounded nice, but I just couldn't believe it. I mean,
at the time,
at the time, you told me some things that were spot on that I knew that happened.
But this was obviously
my
a prediction.
Father, but that was a prediction, and I didn't have a clue that something like this would happen. And you said that you can't be really sure about the times, but it was on the spot, like on 10th July, which is Tesla's birthday. The story, my fairy tale, which was later, you know, scientifically confirmed, started happening.
Wow.
Because that day, I happened to be in Belgrade. I rented some place to work from, and this morning, for no reason, I came earlier, and I was just standing at the window and enjoying the sun on the roofs of Belgrade, and then all of a sudden, from nowhere, two completely white doves came straight to me, picked the windows in front of my eyes, moved their wings as two ballerinas following the same choreography, and flew away. And that filled me with some joy, but I couldn't connect it with anything. And then a client came, and she was on the table, and I was doing what I believed was reconnective healing. And then I heard the voice in my head. I mean, I'm a psychologist, we call it schizophrenia. When you have voices in your head.
Depends what kind of voice you hear, but that's good,
Yeah, well, so I heard the voice, Tesla healing. You need to reconstruct Tesla healing. And my first reaction was, what a nonsense, like Tesla and healing, because of course I knew who Nikola Tesla is. He invented everything modern technology is based on, and then erased from history because he had found out how we could use free energy. But Tesla and healing, and who am I to reconstruct something a genius Tesla invented. So, I just couldn't make sense. And then the message repeated. And that day, I had 9 messages telling me I needed to do something connected to Nikola Tesla. And then it took me 9 months. It's 999, 9 months.
And 9 years.
And 9 years. 9 years later, we're sitting here.
Yeah,
That's so true.
It might be symbolic, like, for all that all puzzles to come in place. And yes, it is huge. It's much larger than myself. It is, I call it Tesla metamorphosis. And I have to explain why we have that privilege to have Tesla's name in the name of modality. It is because we can access Tesla waves. The difference among modalities is not in how we wave our hands. I mean, we can be a bit more theatrical or less theatrical, but the difference is what frequencies of energy we can access. In other words, what frequencies of consciousness we can access. Because Tesla was aware that energy is not just a mechanical movement of particles, that he is dealing with consciousness. And that is what he called active ether.
So just to kind of give it a brief summary, a lot of the viewers at home to understand in kind of layman's terms, like if someone explains something about finances to me, I say, tell me in terms of an olive tree. How many olives are on the tree? And they're each $1. And where do they go? And what does that do?
And even then, I still have trouble following.
I know. And they say, well, if you put this many olives here. So you've written a book, and this information is all in this book. And 9 years later, you predicted it 9 years ago. Now it's here, and you've come together with people that we discussed before that have had this understanding on how to harness this technology, how to unify it and turn it. Now, you're a very, very celebrated woman yourself. You've completed your studies at the Australian
College of
Applied Psychology. You're also you're the founder of this, and you're also a professor of world literature. You've had 3 October prizes. Is that correct? In both poetry as well as scientific literature. So you're a very, very bright lady, and Tesla was a very, very bright man.
Oh, well,
and
we can't compare.
No, but I think to say safely, with the limited time we have, that what you've really uncovered here, that you had said all these years ago, is a profound form of healing. And from when I was reading the research before we came on the show, it's having, there's a lot of great things that are happening, and you have to feed back to me very briefly for the guys at home what it is actually doing now that we've come this together, because everybody needs to read the book to understand how it came together and what is the outcome of this.
Yeah, well, the beautiful thing about it, you mentioned I finished some universities, but people might not see the door of a school to be a good healer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact, and that is why I go around the world and I teach. I spend most of the year traveling. I make 2 circles around the world each year. And what is really important about this Tesla metamorphosis and what makes it different from other modalities, it is that we can access Tesla waves. I already told you. Tesla didn't call them Tesla waves. He called them non-Hertzian waves, underlying that they are different from Hertzian, not just in frequency, but also that they are multidimensional and they are in domain of a new physics. Those are Tesla's words. So we can't measure them, but thanks to a special camera invented by Dr. Harry Oldfield, we can make photos of them.
Yes.
So it was...
And that's these photographs here in the
Yes.
book.
Yeah, so here you can see Tesla amplifier with extra coil constructed by engineer Marjanovic, and he used notes from Tesla's explanations very strictly, and he said he was surprised how in detail Tesla left the, the instructions, because usually he did everything in his head. And he reconstructed this amplifier which radiates those waves that are different, that they get stronger with the distance. And you can see also that during the session of Tesla metamorphosis, the identical purple color that present those waves are present in the images of Tesla metamorphosis session. And Dr. Professor Ristovsky, who made those photos, he said that he checked on his institute, on internet, with Dr. Harry Oldfield, and according to him, Tesla metamorphosis is the only modality where we can access those Tesla waves.
Tesla Metamorphosis is the name of the book. You'll heal and evolve. And we have the author with us tonight. It's lovely to have you here, internationally renowned. And I think a little more tonight, after tonight, Anya.
Yes, I think we're going to have you back a little bit later this year, so that we've got more time to actually spend more time to learn it.
To share it.
Yeah.
It's not just about healing, even much more important than the healings, because most people, they get attracted because of those, how they call it, amazing healings. But those frequencies actually elevate human consciousness on the level of crown chakra. And in some classes, I have 60, 70 people on that Tesla Metamorphosis 2 seminar. And what is amazing, each of them is capable of making communication with the client on the level of conscious, subconscious, and integrative mind, and they are not clairvoyant, and they were not aware of such abilities before. So I think that yes, people are attracted because our clients report healings from all those illnesses that are named incurable.
And consciousness is changing.
Yeah, even from birth deformities. But that fact that these Tesla waves elevate our consciousness, it's much more important than the healings. We'll talk about that when I come back.
And I'd just like to say as well, so this is just so lovely that it's come full circle, and that's the magic of having a reading, is sometimes you'll sit with a medium or you'll sit with a psychic and you'll think, gee, I'm not sure if I can understand what's being prophesized here or what's being predicted, but that's the magic of a reading. And then, of course, here we are 9 years later and discovering a new modality.
Absolute agreement with you on that. I had a reading about 2 years ago, and I scribbled down notes, and I wrote down this thing, and I wrote business, and under the 3 lines under that, I wrote the name Andreas, and I only just met a person in the business capacity, tell me about it in olive branches and olives for me to understand it, that I found that notebook because it was something that I needed for something else, and I just came across those pages.
And it came through at just the right time.
Well, this time, exactly right.
And this is why I say to all my clients, timing is fluid. We often think of timing as being very linear, January, February, March, etc. But time is really cyclic, So time is very fluid, and so what we deem as our time may be very different to Spirit's time. In the spirit world, there is no time. And so this is why we can only give general guidelines. But what's so remarkable for Anya and your story that you've just shared is that, of course, it all tied in and it made sense. So that's just fantastic.
Tesla Metamorphosis, the name of the book. Heal and Evolve. Anya Petrovic, thank you very much for coming in tonight.
I would just allow me to invite everybody, because on Friday night at 7 p.m. I'll have a free talk about, so if you want to find out
And
more,
we also have all those details, guys, on the Facebook page. Please go to our Facebook page and get the details and go along and have a solid education of great wealth, because Nikola Tesla was a great man. Thank you so much.